Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Jasmine Summerford. I do lifestyle, home decor, and beauty related videos. I also do recipe videos, Disney themed videos, love and marriage videos. If any of that sounds like something you're going to be interested in, then definitely click that red subscribe button below. I would love to have you. So for today's video, I thought I would do another recipe video. This recipe is perfect for the fall time. It's also perfect for the winter time. You can make it in a crock pot. You can make it in an Instant Pot if that's what you're into. You can also make it over the stove in a big pot. Like if you don't have those options, you definitely can use just a big boiling pot as well. And today I'm gonna be doing a beef stew recipe. So the reason I actually decided to do this was because I had a lot of requests after I cooked it for people to put the recipe up on my channel. So this is for you guys. So I'm gonna show you what you're gonna need for this whole process. Now, I do mine a little differently than most people. I will show you the step-by-steps, and I'll also try and write it down in the description box. That way you have the recipe, the ingredients, everything you need. But let me show you what I'm using right now. So as you can see, I have my beef stew chunks here. You can get these in the grocery store, and basically it says on the packaging, you know, like for stew, beef chuck for stew or whatever. It comes pre-cubed for you, so you don't have to do anything, which is really convenient. I just seasoned it with some salt and pepper. I also have some onions here and peppers. So I have green peppers, yellow peppers, and white onions. And I have a whole big bowl of potatoes here. I also have my carrots, which I'm going to be using these baby carrots. I don't have time to be cutting any carrots, you guys, so those are the carrots I usually use. I also like to add towards the end some corn, whether that be half a little mini corn on the cobs or just like half a can of corn. I like to put that in towards the end. So make sure you have all your ingredients and get yourself nice and set up. So I have everything pre-cut here so that I don't keep you here a million years. And I have this pre-seasoned. Now, the trick for my beef stew, I think, that really people like is that I season it with salt and pepper, and then I add some flour. I just coat it with flour like so. And I'm kind of just gonna use my hands to kind of like toss it in the flour. The idea is to kind of just coat it and then throw it onto the hot pan in the oil. I like to use avocado oil since it has a high smoke, you know, high smoke point. And basically what you want to do is make sure you have like the flour pretty much coating the pieces. If you want to flip them over and add a little bit more, you can. This is gonna make like the sear really nice and thick, and I find that it just makes it look really good, and it also helps get those crispy pieces at the bottom of the pan that you're gonna want in your crock pot, because what happens is those crispy pieces, they allow for a lot of flavoring. So just adding a little bit more. I'm patting it down. I already washed my hands, you guys, so don't have to worry about that. Pre-washed everything, pre-cut everything. Okay. So now that I seasoned up my meat, I put the flour on it, I gave it a nice coating of flour. I'm going to take my meat over and toss it onto a cast iron pan. If you guys don't have a cast iron pan, that's completely fine. You can use a regular skillet frying pan. I just prefer to use the cast iron pan to get that real crusty like sear on the meat. And what you're gonna do is put it on there for about 4 minutes each side. You don't need to cook it completely because it's gonna go into the crock pot or the pot after that you use, and basically it will cook slowly. So I like to keep my crock pot on low. It's about 12 o'clock right now, and I'll keep it there for hours, for like 3 to 4 hours on low, and basically that will cook through. So you don't need your meat to be completely cooked straight through. You just need it seared. You're just throwing it on the iron, on the flat iron. You're just throwing it on the cast iron pan to get nice and crispy. That is it. So depending on how much meat you have, you may have to do it in batches. That way you have enough room for all your meat to get nice and crispy on each side. But I like to not touch these for about like 3 minutes before I flip them to the next side, and then I just remove them from the heat about after 6 minutes or so. But this is our meat. So I just did the first batch. As you can see, the crust that it kind of formed, that crunchiness, that's what you want. And you can tell it's not all the way cooked through, but you want the outsides to have that crust. That is the point in putting it on the skillet first. You want those crunchy pieces of beef. So we have all our meat seared up here. You can see a little brown like crusties on it. That is what you want. They're not fully cooked, so that is completely fine. I have my crock pot here on low, and basically what I'm gonna do is just let it warm up. In the meantime, I'm going to take about half of my onions and my peppers and throw them onto the cast iron that I just used for the beef. And what we're gonna do is kind of like saute them up. I'm gonna throw some red wine vinegar to lift up all those extra flavored crunchy pieces at the bottom of my pan. And then by the time we're done with that, the crock pot will be ready to toss everything in. Just saute these up. Now the important part of this whole thing is to add a splash of red wine vinegar. Gonna do that, you guys. That is completely normal. What it's doing is it's lifting the flavors of that meat, and basically you're just gonna let the onions and peppers kind of saute in here until you no longer smell that vinegary smell, but it's basically there to just lift up that flavor of the meat. And all these like little brown crispy parts you're seeing on the onions, that is what you want. That is the most flavorful part of the whole dish. So definitely keep that in mind when you're making it. Don't be afraid to add some red wine vinegar. Even if it smells a little bit potent, that's fine. Just let it cook out here while your crock pot is warming up. Smells so good, you guys. Okay. So yeah, we're just gonna let that season, and we're just gonna let that saute. And the point in that was to really bring out the flavor of the meat that was already in the pan, and get those little crunchy parts so that when we pour it into the stew, all the most flavorful parts are there. The white vinegar, the red wine vinegar kind of lifted all the flavors up from the pot. Yum. So I have my crock pot here. It is warming up. I'm just going to show you what I'm going to throw in here first. I'm going to actually add a little bit of avocado oil to the bottom of the crock pot, which is right here. Just a little. I wish you guys could see this a little bit better. I'll take an overhead view as well. Next, I'm going to be putting in my beef chunks. So kind of just placing them in. It's kind of like the layering process of it all. Okay, next I'm going to I want to take the finished onions and things that I had sauteed up, but I'm going to put them on this and transfer it into the pot. And these are our sauteed onions and things. I'm going to put that in there. And let me give you an overhead view of what we have here. So this is what it looks like on the inside of the crock pot. Next, what I'm gonna do is add my kind of really uncooked ingredients, which are my potatoes, and the rest of my onions and peppers. And a few of my carrots. So you can definitely customize this stew however you want. Maybe if you want less carrots, you can definitely do less carrots. Maybe you want more potatoes or no potatoes at all, you can switch it. I will say this is a very kind of hearty meal. And it's not the healthiest choice. I'm gonna think it's not. I'm gonna say that it's not the healthiest choice. So definitely do it the way you want to do it. It's definitely up to you. Like if you would rather use sweet potatoes instead of regular potatoes, definitely go for it. The good thing about cooking is you can experiment and find new ways that maybe are better suited, or you know, that you just want better. So next I'm adding some vegetable stock, unsalted vegetable stock. This is the one I'm using, and I'm gonna pour it pretty much, this is about half a container. I'm gonna pretty much use the whole thing because this is a lot of stuff. And I actually do have another container just in case, but let's see. Yeah, I'm probably gonna need another container. So I'm gonna get my other container up in the cabinet and add a little bit more. Okay, so I have the rest of my vegetable stock here. Again, if you prefer to use beef stock, that's fine as well. It's totally up to you. I think that's a good amount. I think that's fine. Next thing I'm going to add is some tomato paste. I'm going to be using this tomato paste. I just find it works really well to thicken up the soup and give it a really nice flavor. But I'm going to need 2 hands here, so I will definitely do this off camera and then come back on and show you the rest of what I add to the crock pot. Okay, so I just added the tomato paste. I'm just going to stir that up a little bit. You can see. And to add to that, I'm actually going to add some of this Goya sofrito. It's the tomato cooking one. I feel like this adds a lot of flavor. So I do about 2 tablespoons. Perfect. I also like to use the frozen sofrito. I'll show you it right now. So I'm also gonna add this frozen sofrito, but I'm gonna wait for it to thaw out a little bit. I can barely get, like, it's really frozen. I can barely get a spoon in there. Lastly, I'm gonna put in like 2 or 3 bay leaves. If you don't have fresh bay leaves, it's not a big deal, but I do like to put it in there because I feel like the flavor enriches it, and I have some, so I'm definitely gonna add a few to here. And this is gonna be on low cooking for a few hours, so I will definitely check back in with you guys at the halfway mark and show you how it's looking. These are the bay leaves that I'm gonna be tossing into the pot. In case you guys weren't sure what they look like, these are the ones I'm using. Just keep them in there for like the cook, and then you can get rid of them once it's over. You don't eat them, so just have them in there, and I think 2 is fine for now. And I'm just waiting for my sofrito to just kind of thaw out a bit, but I will show you what it looks like in a few. We are at the halfway point. At this point, it's like 2 o'clock. So you can see the beef stew is thickening up a bit, and it smells really good, you guys. I wish you guys could smell this. So good. And I will definitely show you how it looks at the very end. What I like to do is I like to make a pot of white rice and just serve it with white rice. So good, you guys. I will check back in with you when it's all finished. So this is about an hour after the last clip I showed you guys. It's almost finished, you guys. It smells so good. Wish you guys can smell this. YouTube needs to like create like a smell-o-vision for you guys. But it smells so good, you guys. And I'm gonna show you how I plate it next. And this is the finished plate, you guys. My husband absolutely loved it. I just served it over some white rice. It was so yummy. If you want more videos like this, more recipe videos, definitely give this video a big thumbs up. Also, do not forget to subscribe. That way you can be notified every time there are brand new videos here on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.